Hezbollah reportedly ordered around 5,000 pagers from Taiwan, a country known for producing about 90% of the world's most advanced semiconductors. These pagers were destined for Lebanon. However, what makes this story particularly intriguing is what allegedly happened during the shipment process. At some point along the way, a spy agency is believed to have intercepted the shipment and tampered with the pagers. They discreetly altered the internal components, replacing one of the two identical batteries with a hidden explosive device. This modification was done so subtly that it went unnoticed. Once the changes were made, the altered pagers were quietly sent back to Hezbollah as if nothing had happened. In one instance, a pager explosion occurred at a grocery store, and a small handheld device, seemingly just another pager, was carried by a possible Hezbollah operative. It unexpectedly detonated, causing injuries to the user. The explosion, though localized, inflicted harm and sowed fear among those present.
Imagine this. 1 minute you're going about your day, and the next, an explosion takes place. And it's all because of the pager you're wearing. That's exactly what happened on September 17th in Lebanon and Syria when a series of deadly pager explosions rocked Hezbollah members and civilians alike. At least 12 people are dead and nearly 3,000 are injured in what's now seen as one of the most brutal and calculated attacks in modern warfare. Children as young as 8 years old are among the casualties. But wait until you hear who's applauding this horror. Let's be clear on what happened here. Hezbollah, always under threat from Israel and tracking, had been using old-school pagers instead of smartphones for secure communication.
This raises the question, why did Hezbollah begin using pagers instead of simple mobile phones? Well, it all started with the Outrage bombings. The Israeli spy agency started planning the assassination of Fouad Shukr. They did this by hacking into the mobile network of the Hezbollah military commanders. On the day of the assassination, Fouad Shukr was working in his office, likely engaged in the planning and communication that were vital to Hezbollah's operations. Unbeknownst to him, Israeli intelligence was closely monitoring his movements and communications. According to reports, Israeli intelligence managed to intercept a Hezbollah phone call, which played a crucial role in the assassination plot. The intercepted call was manipulated to deliver a false directive, instructing Fouad Shukr to return to his residence on the top floor of the same building. The urgency of the message was designed to make the commander believe it was a matter of immediate importance. This clever ruse was a deliberate attempt to isolate Fouad Shukr in a specific location, ensuring that the strike would be as effective as possible. The plan succeeded as soon as confirmation was received that the commander had entered his 7th-floor apartment. The final phase of the operation was set into motion. An aircraft, possibly an F-16, was dispatched to carry out the precision strike. Equipped with a laser-guided bomb, similar to the highly advanced Spice weapon, the aircraft locked onto the target. The free-fall guided weapon, traveled with pinpoint accuracy, was released and struck the building with devastating force, causing a massive explosion that obliterated the 7th floor and claimed the life of Fouad Shukr, injured a couple of residents living in it. Why did Hezbollah begin using pagers instead of simple mobile phones? Well, it all started with the Outrage bombings.
Apparently, these pagers didn't just beep when you had a message, they made sure the whole block knew. That's one way to make sure no one ignores a notification. But that tactic backfired when a series of pagers reportedly manufactured by BAC Consulting in Hungary under the Gold Apollo brand were either rigged with explosives or sabotaged through remote detonation technology. Starting at 3:30 p.m. local time, pagers across Lebanon exploded over a span of 1 hour. The attack targeted high-ranking Hezbollah members, but it didn't end there. Innocent civilians, including children, were caught in the blast radius. Pagers in 2024. Guess Hezbollah's strategy is to avoid tracking by using tech no one's cared about since the 90s. Brilliant move until they started blowing up. The casualties were horrific. Among the dead are 2 children, Fatima Abdullah, a 9-year-old girl who had just started the 4th grade, and 11-year-old Bilal Kanj. Fatima was from the village of Nabi Shit in the Bekaa Valley. And let's not forget the injured. Lebanese health officials confirmed that more than 2,800 people were hurt, with over 460 requiring surgery. Faces disfigured, limbs lost, lives shattered, all because of an inventive new method of remote destruction. Back in the 90s, getting a page was exciting. Now it's a death sentence. Technology really has come a long way. Although Israel hasn't officially claimed responsibility, all signs point their way. The sophistication of the attack is something only a major player with advanced intelligence and covert capabilities could pull off. Mossad has been long accused of such methods, planting explosives in personal devices to eliminate their enemies. Who knew the biggest threat to their security wasn't a drone strike, but a 1998 Motorola? Hezbollah immediately blamed Israel, and reports even suggest U.S. officials were briefed by Israel after the fact. I guess briefing the U.S. after the attack was just Israel's way of saying, hey, just FYI, we're blowing up pagers now. But there's something even more chilling here: the timing. Israel had just expanded its war objectives against Hezbollah, and this attack sent a crystal clear message. It wasn't just aimed at high-ranking militants. It was a warning that no one is safe. That includes children who were obliterated by these pager bombs, further raising questions about the total disregard for human life in these escalating conflicts. Now, here's where the blood really starts to boil. Instead of condemning this horrific event, Jeremy Boreing, the co-founder of the Daily Wire, decided to praise the attack, calling it one of the most masterful and inventive operations in military history. Really, Jeremy? You're applauding an attack that left children dead and thousands mutilated? If by masterful you mean blowing up children and civilians, then sure, this attack was practically a work of art. Nothing says Christian values like applauding an attack that leaves kids dead. Jeremy's comment reads like something straight out of a dystopian nightmare. The attack on Hezbollah was among the most masterful and inventive in the history of armed conflict, he tweeted. It was also one of the most highly targeted in modern warfare. Truly remarkable. Remarkable? How do you even say that with a straight face? There's an 8-year-old girl buried in the ground right now, and this is your takeaway? It's sickening. And you're not the only one who thinks so. Nicholas Fuentes, of all people, hit back with a solid point. According to you, my political talk show is evil, but this terrorist attack is masterful. I'm Catholic. What kind of Christian are you? Honestly, that's a legit question. What kind of person, let alone a self-professed Christian, looks at the slaughter of children and innocent civilians and calls it masterful? And then there's that girl, Casey, another voice who fired back at Boreing's despicable take. Many children injured and an 8-year-old girl killed, but this is what he says. Meanwhile, if Israel can cause this destruction with a pager, what else can they do, since Microsoft and Intel have been moved over there? He's a sicko, by the way. If they can do this with a pager, just imagine what happens when they get their hands on AI. I guess terms and conditions could start coming with an explosive consequences clause. But Boreing's not the only one under fire. What about his pals Matt Walsh and Tim Pool? They associate with this filth, sharing the same platforms and clapping each other on the back while innocent lives are destroyed. Maybe Matt Walsh and Tim Pool are just too busy recording podcasts about real threats, like drag queens reading books, to comment on their buddy praising child killing. How do these guys go to sleep at night? Are they just fine with co-signing someone who glorifies death and destruction like this? The moral rot in that whole circle is staggering. Jeremy Boreing could offer me $100 million and I'd still tell him to go fuck himself. Who cares about his money when he's out here praising the mass murder of children? The fact that people like Matt Walsh and Tim Pool stay silent on this is just as damning. If you're silent, you're complicit. You don't get to sit on the sidelines when your buddy's out here waving the flag for child-killing operations. Silence is agreement, plain and simple. Leave it to Mossad to turn old-school technology into new-school terror. Forget spyware. Now they've got pagers that can ghost you literally. In the midst of all this twisted admiration, let's not forget the human cost. Fatima Abdullah, Bilal Kanj, and countless others are the real story here, not the supposed genius of a tactical attack. 2 kids dead, nearly 3,000 injured, but don't worry, according to some, that's just the price of a masterpiece. So where does this leave us? With an ever-widening divide between those who see the world in terms of winners and losers, strategies and tactics, and those who see it for what it really is, innocent lives ripped apart for political gain. Those in Boreing's camp might be able to brush off the deaths of children with a few clever tweets, but the rest of us see the truth. These are real people, not pieces on a geopolitical chessboard. With Microsoft and Intel moving over to Israel, we can only imagine the innovation ahead. Maybe they'll invent a smartwatch that explodes when you miss a step goal, and we'll all lose weight like Lizzo. Next time, Hezbollah should maybe stick to smoke signals. At least they won't blow up in your pocket. Unless, of course, Mossad learns pyrotechnics. Jeremy and friends applauding this attack are like film critics who gave 5 stars to a snuff film. Tasteful, really. Now, if you've got thoughts on Boreing's praise of a child-killing operation or the general state of moral decay among people like him, I want to hear it. Drop your comments and let's have the real conversation these sycophants won't.
Middle MAGA.